Welcome back to another episode of Advanced Level, a video game podcast. My name is Felipe Parada. Joined with me is Oscar Portillo. Oscar, what's going on, my man?
I'm good. What's up with you?
I got to be honest. I feel a little bit down, only because of this whole daylight savings time. You know, it gets darker earlier. I'm waking up and it's nighttime. I'm coming home and it's nighttime. You know, it's
kind of a bummer.
It's a little depressing, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I guess starting to get dark around 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, once I look out the window, when I look out the window on my job, I'm like, it feels like it's like 8 o'clock at night when it's only like 4:30.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, winter is coming.
You had to say it, didn't you?
So,
you know how many freaking memes I
see
of that?
It's just too easy.
You know how many memes I see of that on Facebook? I see it at least 4 or 5 times a day.
Too easy.
Oh my god. Okay. The good thing is I'm still playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2. A lot. I didn't think that this game...
And so how's that going?
You know, Rockstar once again has raised the bar as far as open world games. Okay? They did it with Grand Theft Auto 5. And then there were these other games, The Witcher 3, Final Fantasy 15, that kind of brought it up a little bit more, and here comes Rockstar again, right. And they're like, you know what? Hold my beer. We got this. And they hit us with Red Dead Redemption 2. It's just...
How far are you now?
As far as the story, I'm about 30%.
Okay.
In the story... Now, this is the story. This is not the actual complete... Like, I don't even know. I haven't even checked yet, to be honest with you. It's just... This game, definitely in the running for Game of the Year. I mean, it's not perfect by any means. It's not perfect.
From what I hear, though, it comes pretty close to perfect.
Yes, it does come fairly close, but, you know, every game has its pros and cons, and this game isn't without its drawbacks, but the game is pretty close to near perfect.
It's interesting because last week you said it was hard for you to find any kind of flaw. I asked you a similar question, if you could find any flaws. And it was hard for you to find them.
But now that I got a chance to actually play with the game and actually play it the way it's supposed to be played, the one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit, and I'm still going to use the argument about the whole side activities, poker, dominoes, like, I get it. I get why they're in there. It's kind of to pass the time a little bit, but I'm not a poker player. I'm not that much of a gambler, so I don't use it that much. But but
isn't that optional?
Yeah, it is optional. But I think one of the things that kind of started to stand out a little bit more and more as the game went on is obviously it's a Rockstar game. They're using the Rage engine. So obviously the gameplay mechanics, the running around, it's very Grand Theft Auto-ish. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
so now that you've actually gotten deeper into the game, it's a little, because last week you mentioned how it's a slow burn, and it's really grounded in reality almost.
Yeah, it is a slow burn.
And now it sounds like you're really into the game.
Yeah, it's still a slow burn.
It's picked up the pace, I feel.
It has picked up in certain aspects. The story starts really picking up, but the game, you have these moments, right, where you're out in the wilderness and there's nothing. There's this sort of weird beauty in that nothingness that you see. And there'll be times where you're riding from A to B and you'll get these strips where there's literally mountains and trees and all that stuff, and that's it. There's nothing else. Of course, you'll see the occasional rabbit running around the dirt path, and you see deers in the background. You see one lone person in the lake kind of rowing. But it's within that emptiness that you really find its true beauty, in my opinion. But if there was one thing that I would have to say annoys me the most, and mind you, this has nothing to do with taking away how near perfect Red Dead Redemption 2 is. There's this weird thing where they kind of did away with the whole a single person carrying like 60 weapons, kind of like how they had it in Grand Theft Auto. They leave that to your horse. Like, you actually leave all your weapons on your horse. So your horse is technically your mobile armory.
So it's almost like a storage.
It's your storage pretty much, and you store everything on your horse. You know, he does a lot of the legwork. The thing that sucks is every time you mount your horse, for some strange reason, and maybe they might patch this, maybe they won't, For some strange reason, when whatever weapons you had equipped, as soon as you get on your horse, Arthur puts them away and it automatically unequips all your weapons.
Now you think it's some kind of glitch?
Well, I know I've read in some of the forums and some of the threads, and a lot of people, I think it's just a gameplay mechanic. I haven't figured out a way to sort of undo that. And I get why he does that, because when you're riding the horse, you don't want all these weapons, hanging off you. But at the same time, it's like, okay, there's a specific weapon I like to use. I like to have the loadout where it's and I still have to dual wield. They're still dual wielding. And I still go through every encounter with dual pistols. Then I have my medium range weapon and then my long range weapon. And having to constantly re-equip them every time you get off. And sometimes I'm put in a position where I'm doing a mission and I kind of forget to equip some weapons. So sometimes I've had to go back and restart a couple missions because I keep forgetting that every time I get off my horse, I need to re-equip my weapons. So you can see after a while that kind of gets annoying. It definitely
sounds like
after a while it does tend to get annoying, but there's ways around it. You get used to it. And like I said, this doesn't take away from how near perfect Red Dead Redemption 2 is. Which, mind you, I mean...
It definitely sounds like a glitch. It definitely sounds like some type of glitch.
I think, yeah. It definitely sounds like a glitch, and I'm pretty sure they're going to patch it. But it really hasn't taken away from how near perfect this game is. And you're going to hear me use that terminology a lot. Because the one thing I've noticed lately, and Red Dead Redemption 2 it can fit under a different category, but it's relatively a single player focused game, and they're gonna release not Grand Theft Auto Online, Red Dead Redemption 2 Online sometime. The beta is gonna go live sometime this month. I don't know the specific dates, but if it's
really,
yeah, the beta is supposed to go live soon, relatively soon, and I need to get my date straight because I definitely want to participate in the beta. But if it's anything like Grand Theft Auto Online, this thing's just gonna print money.
Now, if you have the game, that means you're automatically in the beta?
You know what? That's a very good question. I don't know. I don't know if I have to sign up, but I'm definitely gonna check to see if you need to sign up or if you bought the game or / pre-ordered the game, that automatically qualifies you for the beta. I have to double check. Because I'm pretty sure if you bought the game, you're pretty much...
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out.
You pretty much... It's a given that you're automatically included in the beta. But then again, nothing's kind of been ironed out yet, and I'm definitely interested to see how that's going to work. But getting back to sort of Red Dead Redemption and the sort of single-player aspect, you had actually brought up a relatively interesting question that has kind of been sort of the controversy this year. And the question going back to, I think it started back in April, where are single-player games really dead?
Yeah, that's always been, going back to EA and their kind of statement. That's always a good question.
And I actually wrote an article about it back in April when God of War first came out. You can see it on levelbasedgaming.com. If you'll indulge me for a second, there's a little bit of a quote that EA's Blake Jorgensen made about the state of single-player games. And I quote, "Linear games wouldn't, quote-unquote, deliver an experience that players wanted to come back and enjoy for a long time." End quote. Now, that was back in April. Now we're 7 months later. And in my opinion, I would have to say 3 games that qualify for Game of the Year are all technically single-player games.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to know what Cory Barlog said in response to that quote. And he says, it's not about competition between multiplayer and single player. It's not about any of them being alive or dead, right? It is a Schrodinger's cat. For anybody to use the Schrodinger's cat theory in gaming is okay in my book. Okay?
Yeah.
And he goes on to say, we are alive and dead at the same time, right? And it'll always be that way. And it will be an ebb and flow through time. Now, after rereading that, I can definitely tell this dude was high when he made that comment. Just the very end. And it will be an ebb and flow through time. He must have been on some good stuff when he gave that interview.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me.
Now that we're 7 months later after they originally brought this up, how, single-player games are dead, nobody wants to play single-player games. And in theory, right, technically, they weren't saying anything wrong because at the time, what was popular? Fortnite, PUBG, multiplayer games were still relatively popular. And they're still going to be popular.
Yeah, always. I mean, always.
But thinking back on PlayStation 4, let's just use the PlayStation 4 generation, right? A lot of the very fond memories that I have of this system are relatively single player games. You know, you have Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn, The Witcher 3, Yakuza 0, and now you have the big three this year: God of War,
Yeah.
Marvel Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption I'm still going to use as a single player because Red Dead Online still hasn't launched yet. So technically it's still a single player game.
Yeah, I mean, technically, Red Dead is a single player.
Yeah,
I have no problem
it's a single
with
player
saying
game.
that.
And I preferably don't mind a good single player game. I mean, granted, I know we did spend a lot of time playing multiplayer games this year. We played a lot of Battlefield 1. You played a lot of Overwatch. We played a lot of Grand Theft Auto Online. So, yeah, it is kind of true what Barlog says. It's not a competition. Neither one is either alive or dead. It's just, I guess, the ebb and flow, what's popular at the time. And that's what I'm saying. Blake
What was
Jorgen,
hot.
yeah, what was hot at the time when he made that comment. Technically, Jorgensen wasn't wrong, because at the time it just so happens that Fortnite and PUBG were the two very, very, very popular games,
And they continue to be.
and they continue to be very popular games.
But there's always room for single player games.
Well, if Rockstar and Insomniac and Santa Monica Studios have anything to say about it, yeah, I don't think single player games are going away anytime soon, and I don't think they are even near death. And I
I
still,
can't believe you didn't mention Metal Gear.
you know, I'm very disappointed in myself because that was on my list. I just completely forgot about it. You know, oh yeah, definitely Metal Gear. It's a big open world game. And I'm thinking, like, what? But then again, I don't know exactly what he was thinking at the time when he said that. There still is a very, very, very large market for single player games. And I understand they're getting expensive and there's a lot more time that's involved in creating these single player games. But I don't see them going away anytime soon.
You need to remember also, I just thought of this, a lot of the countries still now they don't have good internet access.
And a lot of different countries too. I don't know if they've banned any multiplayer games or if I've read any recent news about that. But no, you're right. Not many countries have very good internet access.
I'm talking about in the U.S. There's still people out living in the boonies, and
Yeah, because not every area has very good internet access.
Exactly, yeah. Or I have family in Florida, and unless you're willing to pay a good price for internet, you're in the middle of nowhere. And so infrastructure for internet is still not what it should be in this country.
Yeah, but you would think that with all of the advances in technology that it would be kind of like how we have it everywhere. Like, where does your family live?
In Ocala, Florida.
Okay. And really, the internet's kind of spotty
I mean,
over there?
they have good internet because you have to pay for it.
Oh, of course. You're not, like I said before, when I downloaded Red Dead Redemption 2, it only took me 2 hours because I have tier 2 internet from Optimum Online. So yeah, if you want the really good internet speed.
Now they're getting the services up and running. I'm sure there's still places in the middle of nowhere that internet is still not readily available.
Or not that it's readily available, but it's just not on par with what good internet is supposed to be.
Right. Or it's too expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive, yeah.
Maybe that's a whole nother topic.
No, yeah, and not that many people can afford, that type of internet access. So yeah, it would only make sense for, hey, we can't get rid of single player games because another game that I forgot was Uncharted 4. Has a multiplayer aspect of it, but it's relatively single player game. And
Another game that came out earlier in the year was Resident Evil 7.
Did you ever finish that game, by the way?
No.
Come on, man.
It's sitting on my calendar. It's sitting on my calendar, literally.
And like for me, like, because we spoke a couple podcasts ago about our backlog, but now my backlog has a backlog. My backlog is the backlog now.
We mentioned last week I bought Castlevania. I've been playing that, but it didn't help my backlog.
Does it make you any less angry, or are you still angry?
Yeah, I'm still a little upset, but it's such a great game that it's just once you start really playing it and getting into the groove of it, it's hard to stop.
So you were just pretty much mad at the politics that came along with that game.
We all know Konami. I'm in a good mood. I don't know.
You don't want to ruin it.
Yeah. But Castlevania holds up, and I'm playing it. I'm 39% done. I'll play an hour or two a night,
Right.
and I should be done by the week.
And I'm gonna go
And then
ahead
I'll work on my backlog later after that.
and I'm gonna go ahead because remember another thing too. Black Friday's coming up, so there's
Right.
gonna be a lot of games on sale, and there's two games that I'm planning on getting, or at least I hope I will. One, obviously, Overwatch, and I'm still disappointed that it's taking me this long to get Overwatch because I know there's
Yeah.
there's a new
A new hero.
hero, right?
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I hear is phenomenal.
And another single player game.
Exactly, another single player focused game. Yeah, they have a steady stream of content, and it's not really multiplayer, but they have sort of community events. But the game relatively is
Yeah.
still single player, which I'm actually really looking forward to getting that game. And everybody who I've spoken to who has played the game, and I have a couple people on my friends list, and I like to ask random questions. They say, and I think it was 2 out of the 3 people that I asked, they both said it's much better than Origins. And
Oh, wow.
Origins was a good Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I mean, until Odyssey, I heard Origins was the best one in the series.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And to go even further, one game that I know you're anxiously waiting for is Shadows Die Twice.
Yeah.
Another single player game.
Don't forget a Ghost of Tsushima, I think it's called.
Yeah, and for me, my most anticipated game, Ghost of Tsushima, is another single player game. So obviously, I don't know if we're coming to a second resurgence of single player games, but I think we're, like how Balrog said, we're in that ebb and flow right now. Where right now, we're at that point where now it's going back to single player.
Yeah.
So
I think multiplayer is still always going to be there. Even, Call of Duty just came out with the Battle Royale. Battlefield is coming up. Multiplayer is still...
I'm telling you, Blackout is looking to really make an impact. A lot of people are saying good things about it. I see a lot of people playing it.
That's what I heard. That's what I've been hearing. It's
yes,
that good.
Yeah, you called it. I obviously had my reservations, Call of Duty, it being the way that it is, but a lot of people were giving mixed receptions during the beta, but then once the game came out, it was a completely different game from what the beta was, and a lot of people are really, really gravitating towards this game. They're accepting it. And for a game that has no single player, is doing relatively well. And you know what? Good for them. Really, good on them, because last year I felt it was Battlefield. Now it's kind of switching back to Call of Duty. And maybe next year is going to switch back over to Battlefield.
Well, interestingly, Battlefield is not releasing with its Battle Royale.
The funny thing is, I heard something that they stopped it completely, or they were going to hold off on it. I don't know exactly what their plans were.
The last that I heard is it's going to get released later on after.
Okay, all right. So they're definitely still working on it.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning behind that is. I don't know.
But
it could be interesting to find out what is the reason. Why wouldn't you release the Battle Royale with the game?
I mean, let's just look at it for a second. Look how well Blackout's doing. Do you really honestly think like Call of Duty really is on fire right now? And so Battlefield is going to sort of compete with that. They're just going to release it just to try to take away the player base.
And the only thing I can think of, maybe they don't want to. I don't know. It's a crowded space, maybe.
But you have said that countless times that it's starting to get a little crowded, which I do agree.
The Battle Royale genre, let's say, yeah.
I think we're at that point now where it's starting to get a little crowded, and that's why I think that now the resurgence of the single-player game, like a lot of people going back to single-player games, because it's like, listen, we've played, which is the one for PS4, the Battle Royale.
H1Z1?
Yeah, H1Z1, which is a relatively good Battle Royale game. It's not great. We haven't played PUBG. I tried Fortnite, but for some strange reason, Fortnite, I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't get into it.
For you.
Yeah, it just wasn't for me. And that's not for a lack of trying. I really tried to let this game, bring me in, ease it in, let it grow on me, but I just couldn't. It just wasn't for me. But it seems to be like for a lot of people. And you know what? If that's your thing, that's your thing. But for me, maybe it's my old school mentality. Maybe, I'm what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, I think with the right game, I think you could get into it.
I agree.
'Cause I like the idea of battle royale. I do like that idea.
Now the question is, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they haven't mentioned anything, but I can almost guarantee that Red Dead Redemption Online is going to have their own version of battle royale.
It's gonna have some type of battle royale mode or something like that, but probably later on. Because they always patch it. They always update the game years later. So I can imagine.
Yeah, and remember, all the content that was given to Grand Theft Auto Online was all free,
Yeah, that's even equally
which
impressive.
which to me is still mind blowing. How were they able to get away with that?
It makes money, man. I mean, the shortcuts.
Man, let me tell you, the amount, like, that's why I said they're just going to be able to print money. Those shark cards, man, they sell. That's like their main moneymaker right now. And I never thought to myself, hey, let me buy a shark card. It never once crossed my mind. But obviously, there's people out there that are just buying it up.
I mean, I feel like just playing a couple hours, you can make enough money. But yeah, you're right. Somebody's buying them.
Which is true. I mean, we've had our fun with Grand
Yeah,
Theft Auto Online. And
I mean, we have a few hours.
yeah, a few hours. And we've definitely had our fun with Tom Clancy's The Division.
Yeah,
So to say that right now, I think right now it's just the ebb and the flow has kind of transferred over to single player games. And there's definitely going to be that one multiplayer game. And I honestly thought it was going to be Blackout from Call of Duty that was going to sort of switch the tempo and bring it back into the multiplayer facet of it. But now Red Dead Redemption came back and it's like, nope,
yeah.
we're taking it back. And I
I mean,
can't,
it's Red Dead though.
I mean, I can't begin to tell you. I don't know what Rockstar does or how they manage to do it, but they do it every single time.
Yeah. Every time they always raise the bar.
We can go back to when the birth of the open world single player game was Grand Theft Auto 3 was the
Yeah.
earliest that I can think of.
Yeah, that's it right there.
And then you had your copycats, you had your LA Crime, and you had all these other games. And then it came with Grand Theft Auto 4. And then it came with Grand Theft Auto 5. And now with Red Dead Redemption, it's like, what else can they do?
I mean, it just seems like every time they raise the bar, it's hard to describe. It's every time it never fails. And that's why it takes 8 years for that game to come out.
And I did read an interesting article about they're not releasing. Well, they're not going to release Grand Theft Auto 6 for a while because I forgot who exactly said it, but they made the comment about, we are so glad that Grand Theft Auto 6 is not going to be released during Trump's presidency.
That sounds like a PS5 game.
That's what I'm
That's
thinking.
next gen.
That's what I'm thinking. They're not going to release another Grand Theft Auto until the next generation consoles.
Technically, GTA 5 is from last gen.
You're right. It is from last gen. So we have Red Dead Redemption 2, which is this gen. Yeah, it makes sense because Grand Theft Auto 4 once again was last gen as well.
It was PS3.
Yes, it was PS3. Grand Theft Auto 4.
They
was
released
PS3.
two of them on PS3.
Plus all the standalone DLC, Ballad of Gay Tony, Lost in the Dam, so on and so forth.
So they released GTA 4. I forgot when it was, but GTA 5 came at the very end of the last gen because that's why they ported over into this current gen.
But we're pretty much towards the end of this console generation, so they released Red Dead Redemption 2.
How many years would you say this generation has?
How many years it has left?
Yeah, like for good games coming out in this gen.
I would say it probably has a good 2 years left, in my opinion.
Okay.
A good 2 years. Because remember, we still have games like Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Tsushima. Then we have, obviously, Shadows Die Twice. And I can't believe I forgot this game, Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
Which is supposed to sort of take the open world and sort of take it up a notch.
Interesting.
Kind of like what The Witcher did.
Interesting question. Do you think Death Stranding gets into next gen?
Listen, like how I've told you in the past, Yeah, we got some gameplay footage and we got some sort of understanding of what the game is, but I still don't understand what the game is.
And nobody does. But do you
Dude,
think it gets?
no, I'm telling you, it's going to be a release window, right, for the PS7.
No, come on, for
No,
real.
I'm being for real.
No, come on.
No,
Do you
no.
think it gets?
You know what? I don't want to sort of get sucked into the hype of that game because let's face it, that game is hyped to all holy hell, in my
I
opinion.
don't think it is, to be honest.
For the hardcore,
Kojima fans maybe,
Kojima
but I
fans.
don't think for the general, like, because everybody knows it's not going to come out this, like, 2019. So,
Did they even say when that game was supposed to be released?
no, of course not.
Man, that response was like, "Come on, you should know better. Shame on you." But
So it gets pushed back to PS5 then, right?
you know what? We're towards the end of the life cycle for PS4. Maybe I'm saying maybe it could drop before the PlayStation 4 is done and over with. But that doesn't
What do you
mean
mean by that? Because I know, like, the PS3 still is good, but there's no games coming out. And
yeah. I
even
mean
towards the end of the PS3, when um when The Last of Us came out, it's almost like you had to not buy a PS4.
no. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was at the very end where there was that's the last game that came out.
And I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, Death Stranding will be the very last game that will release on the PS4. Who knows?
So you think it?
I see.
I think it's gonna. I don't think it's PS4.
I want to have hope and faith in Kojima. If it's anything like what happened with Metal Gear Solid 5, he's gonna keep delaying it and delaying it and delaying it because he's let's face it, he's a perfectionist.
Well, let's also. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 5 had some other problems as well.
Yeah, that entire game was just an uphill battle.
So I'm not sure if that's fair to compare.
So you honestly think that it's going to be released next console generation?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the only way is if like we wake up tomorrow, and I don't think it. I just don't. Unfortunately, I don't see enough of what we've seen. I'm sure we've seen gameplay, but it didn't really look like gameplay to me.
Yeah, it kind of looks like pre-rendered footage.
It still does, right?
Yeah, for me, but that they kind of did the same thing with Metal Gear Solid 5 and they did the same thing with Metal Gear Solid 4. A lot of the gameplay looked like pre-rendered footage, but it was actually in-game footage.
That's true.
So,
Like
you
that
know what?
trailer, the very first trailer, it was gameplay. From Metal Gear.
Yeah, I mean,
Like with that first scene, the prologue, that
yes,
was the
yes.
trailer, if you
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah, I definitely remember.
So it was gameplay. So you're right. You have a point there.
But you have a point too as far as, when it's going to be released and you know what? I
The only way maybe at the end of next year, the holiday of 2019.
because they're relative well, I keep saying Konami, it's Kojima actually. He's keeping it relatively close to the chest. Like he barely releases any information on it until like a big gaming show comes on, which
Right.
the next big one is the Video Game Awards,
Yeah.
which I'm pretty
It
sure
would
he's gonna
get
release
like
a
a
trailer.
trailer.
Yeah, he has to, and I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna tell us it's going to be released whatever 2020 or 2021.
Okay. So are you willing to put like a statement?
Oh my god. You're gonna make me put it out there. Okay, so we're 2018 towards the 20 end of 2018. He's gonna drop a trailer.
I'm not asking for a date. I'm just saying you think he's going to give us a date. I'm not asking for a specific. I'm just saying
Mm,
you think he'll give us a date.
mm. See, I have
Or when,
my problem is I have too much faith in people. I you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna say, you know what? He's gonna show us not that much more, but he's gonna show us a little bit more gameplay footage, and he's gonna drop a time window, like a time frame.
right, like winter
Yeah, like
or something like that.
like early early spring, but as far as the
Yeah.
year, like it's hard to tell with him. It really is.
'Cause I think this time, he has a lot of freedom.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
he has 100% backing from Sony and from the developers and the publishers. Like this is This is going to be big. He has complete creative control.
So I think I will say, I think once we get a date, I think it will be solid.
Now, do you? You know what, man? That completely flew over my head. But
Oh, really?
it flew over my head. I'm like, okay, I see what he did there. But that's it. You already went over. You already went over your limit.
Didn't it?
Yeah, the first one is like winter is coming. You have to throw
Oh,
that in
yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
No, I appreciate that. You're on point with your puns, though. I like that. You're just stepping up your game. But another game that I completely forgot, and I don't know if this counts because it technically counts as a remake, Resident Evil 2.
That's coming soon.
Do you even know when it's supposed to be released?
Oh, I don't even know.
And me like an idiot, right? I'm almost kind of embarrassed to admit this, but they kind of started going through the pre-order bonuses for Resident Evil 2. And I think that the basic one is you get Claire and Leon get like the Samurai Edge, which is kind of like the most powerful handgun in the Resident Evil universe, the Samurai's Edge. But me, I must have misread it. I thought you get like an actual gun replica.
Oh, like no.
And
I didn't read I don't know what the.
But I saw it and I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. You get an actual replica, and I'm like, wait a minute, they won't just ship like an actual with the way today's super sensitive, sociological climate is.
Replica, but maybe like a mini replica or something like that.
But I'm like, oh man, that would be so dope if you get like an actual replica of the Samurai Edge from Resident Evil. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, that has to be in game. So I kind of got disappointed a little bit, but that's another single player game. But does it really count because it's a remake?
I guess so. Why not?
Not unless I'm forgetting any other single player games that's supposed to make rounds. Because I'm pretty sure by now, a lot of the games are kind of being pushed towards the next gen.
You think so?
Like Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Horizon Zero Dawn 2, I think, is going to be PlayStation 5.
Has that been confirmed?
It hasn't, but
it's obviously, yeah.
Yeah, it's obvious that it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure the next Spider-Man game is not going to be until PS5.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows, if the Marvel gaming universe is going to start on PS5 officially. But we haven't even heard anything from Square Enix's Marvel game.
And what about these Star Wars games from EA?
Yeah, we haven't heard not one thing from them. And I'm super excited to see what this single-player version of the Star Wars game, like Bounty Hunters. I mean, come on, that's just.
Well, we haven't seen anything.
Right. What was the last? It was during E3 that Zampanella, he just made the announcement like, "Oh, we're working on Star Wars, whatever it was called." No gameplay, no nothing. I'm like, are you for real? You got at one of the biggest shows of the year, and that's how you're gonna announce it, just like that in the audience?
Yeah.
That was half-assed.
So we're not getting. I mean, we haven't seen anything as far as that goes.
But it seems like a lot of publishers and developers. Oh, another one too. Well, this one technically counts as co-op, but Anthem, I don't know where that falls.
I mean, it's co-op. I mean, it's multiplayer.
Okay, it's multiplayer. We'll leave it for multiplayer.
I know we forgot one, Doom.
Oh, Doom Eternal. That's another game that I forgot to put on the list. The original
Doom Eternal, the first one.
Yeah, the original Doom.
Yeah.
Which I think, well, can we really consider it a sleeper hit? Because we knew this game was going to be good.
I think it was. I don't think a lot of people knew it was going to be that good.
You know what? That just goes to show you some good old school game design. It still holds up.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, because
yeah, of course,
that game did also have multiplayer, but I barely played it. I just focused on the single player, which was phenomenal. Just going around, blowing up demons, no reload. I never knew not having reload could be could actually help a game.
Yeah, that's one of the games. I think it's one of the first games that started to turn around the single player phenomenon.
I mean, the next Fallout has been converted into a multiplayer game, so we don't know how that's going to turn out. But I have been reading mixed reviews on the beta.
Again, that's why do we have a beta?
I'm trying to think of any other single player games that I might be missing.
I play a lot I didn't play a lot. I played some of Skyrim, and that was single player.
Do you ever see yourself finishing that game?
No, never.
I mean, I do plan on going back and playing somewhat, try getting close to beating The Witcher 3, which it can be done, but it's going to take a lot of time. And
I mean, my next game I want to play is Horizon. That's my next game.
That's the next game. Yeah, okay, that's the next game in your backlog.
Yeah, I have the complete edition. I have everything. Once I get Castlevania, I'll get into Horizon.
Yeah, man, you really need to get into that game. It is such a good game. It is such a good open world game, and you'll see how that game sort of brought it up a notch as far as a single player open world game, and how the main story quests, side story quests, side story activities, and all that sort of how they kind of like blend into one another. Where there were these moments where you don't know, it just felt like everything was a main quest.
Right. So that's the next game I'm definitely gonna. That's the next game on my Horizon.
See, now you're up to 3.
Now I'm using it.
You know what? No. I'm actually kind of jealous because I haven't hit you with 1 yet. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. And we should have some sort of like game where we can see who can come up with the most puns in like 60 seconds.
But I am going to get back into Overwatch as well.
See, but that's the next game I have to get because, like I said, super disappointed in myself that it's taken me this long.
Yeah, and the game's like years old now.
I don't. But no matter where I go, the game is still being sold for almost full price.
Well, I mean, you get free updates. You know, the game, they continue to support the game, so that's the reason.
No, you know what? I'm gonna make it.
And it's been on sale, buddy. Yeah. It's been on like $30
you're right.
or whatever.
And it was as low as $20 at one point. Yeah, and you know what? I have nobody to blame but myself. I'm gonna make it a mission. Black Friday. I'm gonna look for Overwatch, and I'm gonna try to get it.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have like a Game of the Year edition or something like that.
Not even. I'll just get whatever the base edition was, and just hopefully they'll have it on sale, which I'm pretty sure they will.
Yeah, we're gonna work on a Black Friday list as well.
Yes, Black Friday. You know what? I really am tempted to actually go to one of the stores. I did do it a while back. I think this is when I first got married. And
let's save the story for later.
Yeah, it was a terrible mistake, and we'll save the story for another podcast. But yeah, it was a terrible mistake. Single player games. You know what? Not even close to being a thing of the past. I think right now it's stronger now than it ever was, in my opinion. Like I said, 3 of the games that are Game of the Year contenders, single player games. And I should have said this earlier, but I am close to 100%ing Spider-Man twice now.
Oh wow! Did you platinum the game?
They actually released the New Game Plus, and
okay,
they released Ultimate Level.
And that adds
they added 2. No, for the New Game Plus, it was 2 trophies, and then they added trophies for the DLC.
Okay.
And I'm waiting for all the DLC to release so I can play it and sort of give like a complete review of Spider-Man.
Okay.
So I'm definitely waiting for that. But the only game in my library that I'm going to 100% it twice. I'm technically going to platinum it twice.
You do have the platinum at this point, right? Or
no, I had the platinum, I think like 2 weeks after the game came out. But like I said...
Did they give you something for that? I saw something on Reddit. I don't know if it was true. Like, did they give you something for getting the platinum?
Yes, you do. You do get a special suit.
Okay.
Because what I read was once the game is done, there are secret landmarks that you have to find, but you can only find it when you have this suit active, and you can only get that suit is if you platinum the game.
Okay.
So yeah, they do give you something for platinuming the game. I just completely forgot about that. But no, it's one of the very rare games that I'm actually surprised. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna platinum this game twice, and that goes to show you how good that game is.
Yeah.
And it's not a long game. If you actually play through only the campaign, less than 20 hours. But it's such a good whatever the amount is of just a story. It's good. It's not like it takes like slow points and no, it's good throughout from beginning to end. Of course, like every game, it does have its low points and its high points, but
yeah,
like I said, another game near perfect. God of War, near perfect.
For me, God of War.
Really? No, don't make your claims.
No, that's what it is. I mean, I haven't played any of the others, I don't know what. I mean, I'm
Oh,
gonna look
okay.
for Spider-Man
So
for
so
Black Friday. I'm gonna look for Spider-Man for Black Friday.
so game of the year based off of the games that you've actually
Yeah,
played.
that I played.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's fair.
But for Black Friday, I'm gonna look for Spider-Man.
Yeah. If you're gonna go out Black Friday, protect yourself.
Not go out. I will look
I was
on
about
the
to say.
internet. And
Okay. Oh no wait, you told me last podcast you were you're Cyber Monday type of guy.
yeah, that's true as well.
Okay, Cyber Monday, so you're good. Definitely try to get Spider-Man. I highly recommend that game. It is such a good game, and it's gonna like we spoke about before, it sets up the Marvel gaming universe, and I am just like itching to find out exactly how they're gonna pull that off. There's just so many stories and so many characters that they can bring in. It almost makes me think of it might be too ambitious.
I don't think so. I think they can do it.
Oh, I've no doubt that they're gonna be able to do it, but it's like if you're gonna do it right.
Yeah, of course. Or don't do it. Don't do it at all.
Yeah, don't do it at all. Don't try to copy what everybody else is doing. Do what works well for you. This works.
Right.
Stick with it, and we'll definitely see what these other games have to offer. But I know for a fact single player games are kind of going to end with the PS4, and it's kind of going to lead in to the PS5 as well. I think that's
Yeah, no, I
that's just
agree.
my opinion.
I think there's always going to be room for a single player, even
yeah.
at its low point.
Yeah, but then there was this weird period where it's like, this game is removing single player, this game is removing single player, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? What like?
And it seems like it was regulated to indie games.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, and like I'll be honest, I was a little bit concerned because I'm like, wow, is single player really on the out? Like, are we just not going to see single player games anymore? Are we going to go into the games as a service? Remember when that was really a thing?
Yeah.
Games as a service, which I still have yet to see one game that truly exemplifies what games as a service really is.
I think that's a definition. It's a different definition for everybody. And like with everything it has its peaks and valleys. Eventually, the battle royale thing will go away. It might go away, but it'll have its valleys.
I see Fortnite's bubble bursting soon.
But I don't think it's gonna. I think it's always gonna. I don't think it's gonna go away.
Oh no, it's definitely not going to go away. But I'd see like the bubble bursting. It's generated. It's grown so big too quickly.
I mean, it's almost over when the NFL gets in there.
Oh my God! Please tell me you read that.
About the skins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
that's what I'm
God!
referring to.
I honestly thought that was some sort of joke.
I mean, if I was playing Fortnite, that'd be kind of cool, I guess.
Really?
But,
like,
I don't know.
if I'm playing Fortnite, well, yeah, it really depends on the person.
That's the flavor of the game. That's how the game is. It's not supposed to be realistic.
Yeah. In that aspect, you're right. Running around in a near Giants uniform, or in your case, a Kansas City uniform.
Or if I see all the different characters they have, and it's not supposed to be a simulation.
Yeah, I mean, if you want that more grounded, you can go to PUBG.
Yeah.
And I think we've reached the point of the episode where we're going to say our goodbyes. Unfortunately, we got to go out into the real world and, we got to adult. So visit us on www.levelbasegaming.com.
Visit us on podbean.com, on Twitter, and follow us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel.
If you have any other topics that you wish for us to sort of address, if you have any ideas, reach out to us, leave comments. My name is Felipe Parada. Joined with me, as always, is Oscar Portillo.
And we're out.